The season finale of Love and Marriage, Huntsville did not bring peace, resolution, or calm. Instead, it brought fire, emotions, and pain that no one was truly prepared for. The spotlight landed on Ken, and what was meant to be just another episode turned into a moment that may define his future both on the show and in his personal life. This finale was not about closing chapters. It was about ripping them wide open, showing everyone the truth that had been simmering for weeks, and forcing both the cast and the viewers to face what was really happening between Ken, Trish, and the people around them. Ken walked into this season with something to prove. He wanted people to see him as strong, reliable, and someone who could protect his relationship and his family. From the start, he stepped into a cast that has seen its share of betrayals, heartbreaks, and explosive conflicts. Many thought he would bring a new energy, maybe even balance out the chaos that seems to live in Huntsville. For a short time, he did. He looked confident. He looked ready. He wanted to be seen as a man who could handle storms, not run from them. But what he faced in the finale was not a storm. It was a hurricane that left everything shaken. His relationship with Trish was always going to be a central piece of his story. On the outside, it looked admirable. He was stepping into a family, supporting a woman who had already faced pain, and showing love in a place where many had failed before. But behind the smiles and the appearances, cracks were forming. Those cracks started small. Arguments that seemed normal turned into tension that couldn't be ignored. Pride mixed with pain, and the relationship slowly began to feel less like a partnership and more like a struggle. Friends noticed it. Cast members whispered about it. And by the time the finale came around, all those whispers were ready to explode into the open. The finale began heavy. The energy in the room was tense, almost suffocating. Ken walked in thinking he would defend himself, thinking he was ready for whatever was coming. But he had no idea what was waiting for him. Almost immediately, voices rose. Cast members called out his temper. They questioned the way he handled disagreements. They accused him of turning his good actions into weapons during fights. The words cut deep, and they weren't just coming from one person. One by one, people around him laid out the truth as they saw it. Then came the confession that shocked everyone. A friend close to Trish admitted that Trish had been struggling more than anyone knew. She revealed that Ken's behavior, while it sometimes felt protective, often crossed the line into being overwhelming and suffocating. The revelation that even Trish's children had noticed and grown tired of the constant fighting made the moment heavier. The cameras caught every detail, Ken's face, his body language, and the way the room seemed to freeze around him. It wasn't just drama anymore. It was real pain being spilled in front of the world, but the blows didn't stop there. Another cast member hinted at rumors that Ken had not been as loyal as he wanted people to believe. There were whispers about him communicating with someone outside of the relationship. These whispers weren't confirmed, but they were enough to shake the room. The reaction on Ken's face told a story words couldn't. He looked shocked, angry, and desperate to defend himself. He swore that he had done nothing wrong, but by then, the damage was already done. The suspicion had already been planted, and the cast wasn't willing to let it go. For Ken, it was more than just an argument. It was his image falling apart. All season, he had tried to show that he was solid, dependable, and strong. But in the finale, that image cracked. What made the moment even harder was when Trish herself finally spoke. With tears in her eyes, she told Ken that she didn't feel safe emotionally. She admitted that she was exhausted, that the relationship felt like a performance rather than a true partnership. Her voice was calm, but her words cut deeper than anything anyone else had said. For once, Ken had no response. The protector, the man who always had something to say, stood silent. Viewers watching from home felt the weight of it. Social media lit up immediately. Some people defended Ken, saying he was being ganged up on. Others said the truth was finally being exposed, that they had seen signs of his behavior all along. But whether people defended him or criticized him, no one could deny that the finale had pulled off something unforgettable. It wasn't just about drama. It was about exposing raw emotions that could not be hidden anymore. The final moments of the episode were perhaps the most telling. The cast came together for what was supposed to be a celebratory toast. But nothing about it felt celebratory. Ken and Trish stood side by side, but the space between them said everything. The smiles were forced, the laughter was fake, and the silence in their eyes was louder than any words could be. In his confessional, Ken admitted that he had been forced to look at himself in the mirror. He admitted that he needed to face the truth about who he was becoming. But even in that moment, fans wondered, was he ready to change, or was this just another performance? What happened after the cameras stopped rolling only added more layers to the story. Insiders said that Ken walked away from the group, pacing the hallways, silent in a way no one had ever seen him before. This wasn't the fiery Ken who usually argued back. This was a man stripped of control, left with nothing but vulnerability. Some cast members felt sympathy, saying it must have been hard to face all of that in front of the cameras. Others believed it was long overdue. They felt Ken needed to face the truth and be held accountable. For Trish, the finale marked a turning point. She had been quiet all season, often bottling up her feelings to protect Ken or to avoid judgment. But in that final moment, she spoke her truth. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't try to attack. She simply told him how she felt. And that truth was louder than any fight. It was the kind of moment that shifts a relationship forever. Her final toast said it all. She raised her glass and said, "To finding peace, no matter what it looks like." It wasn't directed at Ken alone, but everyone knew the meaning behind it. Peace could mean staying and rebuilding. Or peace could mean walking away for good. Fans caught on immediately. Social media filled with debates, some saying they hoped Ken would grow and fight for the relationship, others saying Trish deserved peace without him. The visual metaphor of them standing slightly apart during that final scene spoke volumes. Their bodies were together, but their spirits were divided. It was the kind of ending that doesn't close a chapter but dares you to wonder what comes next. And just when fans thought it was over, news broke that producers were already planning a reunion. They wanted Ken and Trish in the same room again, not months later, but while the wound was still raw. That news fueled speculation. Were producers hoping for reconciliation, or were they hoping to capture a full collapse on camera? For Ken, the path ahead is filled with uncertainty. If he wants to fight for Trish, he can't just use words. He'll have to change in real ways, ways that show growth not only on television but in daily life. He'll have to let go of pride, admit his flaws, and rebuild trust. That's a hard road, and fans are divided on whether he's capable of it. If he doesn't fight, then the other reality is clear: Trish may walk away for good, leaving him to face the consequences of his own pride and choices. The finale wasn't just about Ken and Trish. It became a mirror for everyone. It reminded viewers that relationships are fragile, that pride can destroy love, and that silence can sometimes speak louder than words. The episode felt heavy because it wasn't just entertainment, it reflected real struggles people face in their own lives. And that's why it hit so hard. As the credits rolled, one thing became clear: this wasn't the end of Ken's story. If anything, it was the beginning of the hardest chapter he's ever faced. He now carries the weight of public reckoning. He can't hide behind the image he tried to create. The world has seen the man behind the mask, and whether he chooses redemption or denial will define what comes next. Fans are already waiting for the reunion, waiting to see whether Ken will rise from this or fall deeper. They are analyzing every glance, every word, and every rumor. And no matter how it unfolds, one truth remains: in Huntsville, the drama never ends. It only changes shape. This finale didn't just give us an ending. It gave us an open wound, a story that dares us to watch what happens when healing or breaking becomes unavoidable. For Ken, the journey ahead is going to test everything: his love, his pride, his character, and his ability to truly grow. For Trish, it's about peace, whatever form that peace takes. And for fans, it's about staying tuned, because if this finale proved anything, it's that the story is far from over. The most unforgettable chapters are still waiting to be written.